Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. I hope you guys are having a very blessed day. So, today we are going to be discussing right wing cancel culture. There has been a surge of leftists getting fired for celebrating the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk. Is it deserved? Should we play fair? Should we play by their rules? Is this the same thing? We'll talk about all that today. And we will also give some updates onto what is happening with the Charlie Kirk situation. We did get some recent developments that confirm exactly what we all suspected, that this was carried out by trans leftist radicals, which is what I've been saying from the beginning and is the most obvious conclusion that we can draw based on all the evidence that we have seen. So we'll talk about some of that evidence and some of it that might be a little bit suspicious. So we'll dabble in a little bit of conspiracy tonight and we'll talk about a little bit of that. We will also talk about the global movement that has spawned over Charlie's death. I mean, it is expanding well beyond just the United States, which is a beautiful thing. So we got a lot to unpack today. So I appreciate you guys. We are live on Rumble and YouTube and Twitch and Kick and TikTok. So if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, and to stay up to date with what I'm doing. I'm going to do my best to cover this story to the best of my abilities. As news develops, I will give you guys updates as they come in. Um, and I do think I want to spend a little bit more time on this. So we will get into updates in just a second. Now, give me one memento. I just got to pull something up real quick. All right. So since this event happened, I've been getting finger wags at me like, Ryan, the language that you're using is really divisive. Ryan, uh, a Christian wouldn't be so divisive. Ryan, you're spewing hateful rhetoric. So I'm getting all these people wagging their fingers at me when I'm responding like a perfectly reasonable person who just witnessed one of the most prominent conservative figures in the movement get murdered right before my very eyes, and it was horrific. So after seeing that, though, I do want this is a message to uh, my leftist counterparts who disagree with me and my fellow believers. I will spend the rest of my waking life fighting the demonic ideologies that got Charlie Kirk killed. And yes, I am talking about leftism. You will not get a message of unity from me. I will not unite with people who celebrate the violent death of an innocent man. I will not unite with people who mock his grieving wife and children. I will not unite with people who are still peddling lies about Charlie. I will not unite with people who for years have slapped every label under the sun on you in an attempt to slander you and even get you killed. I will not unite with these people because how they feel about the cold blooded murder of Charlie is how they would feel about me if the same thing happened. I will, however, unite with believers around the world who have been moved to action by the blood of a martyr. When they respond with violence, we will respond with prayer. When they respond with hatred, we will meet them with love. When they malign our character, we will stand steadfast in the truth. And above all, we will stop at nothing to advance the gospel to the uttermost bounds of the earth. This is what I am going to do. And I will not be intimidated. I will not be browbeat. I will not be shamed. I will not back down. I will not stop. See, the tactics that formerly worked to shame us, to try to get us to comply, to try to get us to backpedal, are not working anymore. You can say we're being hateful. You can say we're being bigots. You can say we're being racist and fascist and transphobic and all those things. None of that matters to us anymore. Those words mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. So go ahead, take your best shot. So it's not going to work. And you want to know what's really crazy about this? So I had wrote this little that little opening segment I did on Unity, uh, before I saw this statement by JD Vance that I'm about to play for you. So I do think this is really ironic because he basically says almost verbatim what I literally just said, and I didn't see this yet. So here it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that because I am not completely satisfied with how distorted that looks. But anyway,
there is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
yeah, he's absolutely right. And it is kind of wild to me that there's these calls for unity. Like, where have you been the past, I don't know, 10 years? You haven't been calling for unity. Now suddenly you want unity? After you set everything on fire? After you've been maligning our character for years, now you want unity? We tried. We made every effort to have unity. So I'm not feeling it. And just a reminder too, when they say that they want unity, they're still doing this, by the way. They're still doxing or trying to attempt to get people hurt. So this was shared by Seth Dillon. The threat is very real to all of us, and not just in public. They want us to feel afraid in our own homes. Seth Dillon lives at blah blah blah. Charlie Kirk lives at blah blah blah. Matt Walsh lives at blah blah blah. So that they want them doxxed. They want them hurt. And Matt Walsh, by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar with his situation, he had to, he has to have security basically all the time because he was doxxed and his family was in jeopardy. He can't even let his kids play in the front yard. That ain't right. That ain't right, man. And he echoed the same thing that JD Vance just did. I cannot unite. 1 minute. Wifey came home early. All right. Anyway, Matt Walsh writes, I cannot unite with the left because they want me dead. They will spit on my grave when I die and laugh in the faces of my wife and children. There can be no unity with such people, but I will unite with anyone on the right, and I hereby disregard any grudge or personal feud I may have had with anyone on my side. Maybe we'll pick up those arguments sometime in the future. Now we have to stand together. And it's a nice sentiment too, you know. But honestly, from everything that I've been seeing, I don't even think like true unity is even possible on the right because we're already divided. I mean, it's a freaking frenzy right now. People making accusations. So you got, the Grioppers that are getting blamed, and they're getting blamed mainly by the left. But then you got Israel, the pro-Israel, anti-Israel people fighting each other. So they're getting blamed. Ben Shapiro's getting blamed and getting accused of wanting to take Charlie Kirk's. It's really crazy right now. And it's like we can't even have 10 seconds of unity before there's infighting. And this is something that is really disappointing, honestly. It is really disappointing because the left does not do this. This is a problem that I think is really exclusive to the right, which is a shame because if we were united, I do think we would be unstoppable. But at the end of the day, I personally only want to unite really with Bible believing Christians. I'm not saying I won't unite with other conservatives, but if they, reject the Bible, they're rejecting the standard of truth. And we can only stay united for so long without that moral framework, so I do think we have to have something common uniting us. We have to have some uniting principle. And when that's not there, unity becomes very, very difficult. It's impossible basically on the with the left. Like what there is nothing we have in common anymore with the left, and it's getting a little bit more difficult on the right. Uh, and as a Christian, you probably feel this. You probably feel alien. You probably feel like there's nowhere where you truly belong. And that's why, I mean, that's kind of par for the course for the Christian. I feel most at home around other Christians. So those are the people that I'm going to unite with. Those are my tribe. Now, that's what conservatism is supposed to be rooted in. But now you have multiple factions within the conservative movement that are dividing, and that's an issue. So we'll see what happens, but I do think we do need to try our best to try to put aside personal squabbles and try to unite. But that's just becoming increasingly more difficult. Okay, let's cover some updates. All right, so there was a press conference today. I'll play a couple clips from that because I do think it's eye-opening. And let me see, where is it? Chuck Grassley. Where's the press conference? I had it. Oh, here we go. So I'll play a little bit of that, but first I do want to read this article by the Daily Wire, kind of going over some of the stuff. So FBI links suspect's DNA to weapon. So FBI Director Kash Patel said Monday morning that the DNA linked to the weapon believed to have been used to assassinate Charlie Kirk last week matches that of the suspected killer. So I mean, DNA is. Hey, KMD, how you doing, man? I hope you're having a blessed night, dude. Um, so DNA evidence is usually pretty strong. So if they have DNA linking him, I do think it's a pretty solid case that this is him. And we are going to talk about some of the conspiracies surrounding this guy because there's a lot of them out there, man. I mean, there's a lot. Some people are saying he's a patsy. Some are saying there was another shooter. Some are saying that the Jews are behind this. So there's a whole bunch of conspiracies that we could unpack. Some people are questioning how he got off the roof with the rifle. So that's something that we can explore. So there's a couple different things that we can talk about. And yeah, Candy, it is getting rough. It is getting crazy out there, but take heart. Christ has overcome the world. There is nothing in this world we can't face that Jesus will not give us the strength to overcome. They say good people go first. I think it's true. Well, Yeah, I would say so too, honestly. It's the good people are leading the charge against evil like this, and unfortunately, there are targets on their back. It's been the way of the world for most of human history. I mean, our Savior was a good, truly one of the only good, truly good people, and he was murdered. And he was an innocent man. All right. So Patel made the announcement during an interview with Fox and Friends where he gave an update on the investigation into Kirk's assassination at the Utah Valley University. Patel said the DNA taken from the towel wrapped around the rifle believed to have been used to shoot Kirk Tyler Robinson match that of Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old man who has been arrested for killing. I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA from the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody. Good play.
And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
KMD writes Paul Walker in 2013. That was tragic in its own right, but thankfully it wasn't like a deliberate assassination. It was tragic nonetheless, but it would be worse if somebody just killed him in cold blood. And let's not forget Arton Shana, 1994. I don't know who that is, to be honest with you. The screwdriver was found on the roof in Utah Valley building where investigators say Robinson fired a single bullet that killed Kirk as he was holding a campus event. Video footage released by law enforcement shows a man running across the roof of the building shortly after shots were fired. The rifle used in the fatal shooting was found hidden in the woods a short distance from campus. Ammunition was found with inscriptions related to anti-fascist ideology. My job as an FBI director is not to speak to motive, it's to speak to facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in the past couple of years. Patel said that the investigation had text messages where Robinson claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. When asked why the messages was sent to the person who didn't take action, Patel said the investigation was ongoing and they didn't have an answer yet. And we're going to read some of the messages that were sent because there's definitely some things that are eyebrow raising, to say the least. Patel also confirmed that Robinson was not cooperating with law enforcement. Investigators previously said he admitted to his father that he had shot Kirk and peacefully turned himself in at the urging of his father and a family friend. Utah Governor Spencer Cox has said that the death penalty will be pursued if Robinson is convicted. And rightfully so, it should be pursued. We should absolutely be pursuing the death penalty. There's no reason to continue to let this man live. All right. So the kind of, this is like a bombshell news that's being reported, kind of with the actual contents of the text messages shared, and it's created a lot of speculation as to what is actually happening. So we'll play this video from the press conference, and then we'll discuss.
The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange, then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right? Robinson, I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson again, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The F in messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a $2K dollar scope. Wink, wink. Robinson again, delete this exchange. Again, Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me, RN, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Again, you are all I worry about, love. That came from Robinson. Roommate, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. The search for Robinson.
Okay. So that is the statement, allegedly what the text messages say. Hold on a second. Some messages came in from CamD. Let me read them real quick. All right, let's see. Arton Shauna was a Brazilian race car driver. He was born in 1960 and raced in the F1 from 84 his death. During his time, he was the best driver in the world and was deeply respected. He was a Christian. Good documentary movie to watch is the Shauna film. It's right here on YouTube, but make sure it's the English version. To know a little more about Shauna, you can watch the documentary called Song. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out, dude. Hey, B Money, what's going on, man? I hope you're doing well, brother. Truly. All right. So the content of these messages is So there's two ways you can look at it, right? So a lot of people are already questioning if these text messages are authentic. Um, that is debatable. I do think the more I'm looking at them, the more I am less persuaded that they are legitimate. I'll be honest with you,
The
because of
roommate.
just the way some of
Police,
them are worded. So we'll review that in just one second, and then we'll talk about possible theories, because the messages do read a little bit weird. I'm not even going to front. At first, people are criticizing the messages because they're like, um, basically like, this guy is. There's there's no way that these messages are real because of how basically dumb the guy is, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's super compelling to me, because, like, I think if you're somebody that suspends reality and is in a romantic relationship with a man masquerading as a woman, I think that's pretty silly. I think that is quite stupid, actually. So, anyway, let's read some of these messages. Okay. So, this is from Fox. They cut off some of these. Let's see. All right. I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little bit longer. Shouldn't be long until I come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hope to keep this a secret until I died of old age. This is something that is really questionable. All right. So he says, I want to keep this a secret. Okay. But then he talks about leaving a note under his keyboard to be found. So it's like, if you wanted to keep it a secret, then why would you mention the fact that you have this note under your keyboard implicating you for the shooting? So that doesn't really make sense. Um, so another thing that people are pointing out, an issue that is suspicious about this, is that he basically everything in here implicates him. Like everything you need to wrap up this case in a nice little bow are in these messages, and people think it's suspect. They also think some of the wording, the verbiage, is a little weird and not how 22-year-olds talk. So they mentioned him talking about his dad as his old man, and that being suspicious. That him telling his boyfriend that his dad is ultra, is really MAGA, is a MAGA nut or something like that. My dad wants a photo of the rifle, blah 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 blah. Where did he say it? Oh, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Like, wouldn't this individual know that already? So it does seem weird that he's saying that in the message. So I don't know. And then just not being smart enough to realize that when you send a text message, even if you delete it, they can still recover it, seems dumb. So the theories, I think there's actually three theories that we can speculate with this situation. Number one is that these are authentic and that this is just an incredibly stupid person. I wouldn't rule that out, because, as I stated earlier, you can have a 4.0 GPA like this person, but still suspend reality. And you have to suspend reality a little bit if you are going to be romantically involved with a man that is pretending to be a woman. If you were to go along with that, I do question your intelligence. I do. And I wouldn't rule anything out after, even you saying stuff that's going to implicate you. So that's theory number one. Theory number two is that this person is a patsy and that they are uh, altering the messages in a way to protect the the boyfriend, and have all the blame put solely on the trans identify or the Tyler Robinson. So that's the second theory. Um, Dumb, Patsy. What was the third theory I had? I wish I wrote these out. Anyway, that's 2 for now. The other one comes to me. I'll 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 cover it. But now there are some people that are saying that these are fake. So this is Evan Kilgore. Good follow, by the way. I don't always agree with Evan, but he seems like a nice enough guy. Holy S, I put the alleged text exchange between Tyler Robinson and his transgender lover into ChatGPT and asked it some real and if it seemed real and genuine. ChatGPT says the texts are most likely fabricated, far too detailed and too incriminating. The third theory is that Tyler is responsible 100%. He's not a patsy. He just is responsible. And the FBI worked out a deal with the boyfriend, the trans identified individual, to get whoever else is implicated in exchange for immunity or something. That makes a lot of sense to me, honestly. I don't necessarily like it because if he's complicit, he should also be held accountable. But I don't rule out that they try to do these things. You know, they do try to cop deals with certain individuals associated. So that theory does make sense to me. Anyway, so here we have Evan running these messages through ChatGPT. So after reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" All right, so we covered this. So these are all the messages, and this is ChatGPT's evaluation. 5, verdict: could it be real? Possible, but very unlikely because of how detailed, staged, and incriminating it is. More likely, it's fabricated either by a human writing a mock transcript for dramatic effect or by an AI prompted to generate a fake chat log about a violent event. The stylistic mix, slang plus exposition and narrative flow, lean toward AI assisted creation, and I would tend to actually agree with that. Rereading some of these things, it just doesn't sound like a normal human conversation, honestly. Now, I'm not going to claim I know how 22-year-olds talk to each other because I don't. I'm 35 and I don't spend a lot of time talking to 22-year-olds. Basically, I don't talk to 22-year-olds at all. I'm just not around them. I'm in a different phase of my life. But I don't imagine they would talk like this. So it is a little weird the way some of these things are worded, and it's also strange that it is perfectly incriminating. And Matt Walsh actually tends to agree, which is he thinks it sounds like it's straight out of Breaking Bad, and he says that this is essentially something that Walter White did in Breaking Bad. So here's his tweet. I'm leaning very strongly towards the theory that this exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boyfriend. Yeah. And it's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. This feels like a strategy they cooked up from watching too much TV. Yeah. Yeah, that is how it feels. I also think one of the things that makes me question this now is that why don't they just show the actual text messages with the timestamps? Why are we reading a transcript? Just give us the actual messages. Let's see them. Let's see all the messages. I want to see everything. So that's a little weird. That's a little suspect, but I do think the most likely theory is that Tyler did do it and they offered the boyfriend some sort of deal for information. That's my suspicion. So we will ultimately see what happens, obviously. And two, we're not going to get every bit of information too, because and I heard I'm not gonna take credit for this, I'm not that smart. Um I was listening to The Quartering and Hannah Brimlow and Melanie Mack were talking, and Hannah Brimlow basically had stated that they won't give all the information because it shouldn't be. It'll taint. It could compromise the actual verdict, and you definitely wouldn't want him getting off on like a technicality because the jury was persuaded because they released too much evidence to the public. So I do think some of that will get uncovered during the actual trial. So we'll have to wait and see, and we'll see what happens. So there's that. Now, another theory that I want to talk about that I think there's been a lot of speculation, and I think I can clear this up actually, because there's a lot of speculation about what he did with the rifle. Now, supposedly, allegedly, in the whole press conference, I haven't watched it. He dropped the gun off the roof. So that's what's being alleged is he dropped the gun off the roof. But hold on a second. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the video of. Man, I post too much. This is the TMZ video. All right, let's play this. So in this TMZ video, this is one of the ones that released video footage of the shooter on his way to the campus. And I just want to take notice something as we're watching this video. So you see him walking, and he's kind of walking with a limp. So the presumption is that he's walking with the limp because he has the gun shoved down his pants. And that's why he's walking with the limp. Now, I would assume that if he's walking with a limp, he's not really bending his knee. So that would lead me to believe that the barrel is facing down. And it's kind of like right up against his leg. So that is how he's walking, with the barrel facing down. Now, give me 1 second, because there's another video I want to pull up of him jumping off the roof. Let's see. Oops. All right, now the next video I want to play is of him jumping off the roof. Because this is where it does get a little dicey and a little confusing. All right, here we go. All right, so here's the video of him jumping off the roof that we were shown.
He's going to come out on the right, moves to this far right corner.
Yep.
As he does, he's going to climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants. He's going to come out on the right, moves to this far right corner.
Okay, so that's part of it. There's more to this video. Hold on a second. I want the whole video of him walking away after that, because he does walk away. And I think that context is very, very important of when he's walking away, walking past people.
The suspect that t-shirt, tennis shoes.
Why can I not find this dumb video? I had it saved earlier. Yeah, I cannot find it. Oh, maybe this is it. Okay, here's the rest of the video. All right, so he jumps down off the roof. We see that. Boom, jumps down. All right, lands. Picks up his backpack. Starts running. Now, there is a person walking over there, but they don't look like they're paying attention. He walks. There's another person coming over here. He walks. This person doesn't seem to notice him. All right, so he comes behind that person. That person's not really paying attention. And then he walks across here. Ultimately, these cars probably have no idea that the shootings happened. So he walks across there, and then I think in that little patch over here, that's where he ditches the rifle. So people have been questioning how he was able to what happened to the rifle, because they're like he couldn't have jumped down with the rifle. Well, I'm getting mixed things on this, okay? But I do think there is a logical explanation of how he could have got down with the rifle. Now, supposedly in the press conference, it's revealed that he dropped the rifle. I don't see where he does that in the video. So that theory is not making a whole lot of sense to me. But it is possible that he still had the rifle on him, and you can actually, if he points the rifle upwards, and it's like pointing out the side over here, he can actually, and then sticks the stock down his pants, he can actually conceal the rifle without it really being visible. I saw a pretty good picture of it where it does look like the rifle was visible. Let me see if I could find this real quick, because I had it, but I had everything and I didn't save it. Oh wait, I think I have it right here. Yeah, I have it in my files. So give me one second, because I can easily bring that up. So here you go. So here's the image of him. Oh, you on TikTok cannot see it. I'll bring it up in a second on TikTok. But if you're watching this on Rumble, you'll see what I'm talking about, and I'm about to drop it in TikTok so you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to the rifle and how he was carrying it, because it does look pretty freaking obvious to me, at least. No, I don't want to remove the ad read. I want to remove the photo. Delete. All right, delete. Yes. All right, let's see if we can get this up on TikTok now. Images. Where is it? Here we go. All right, so now you guys can see on TikTok. Sorry, it's covering my lovely face, but this image that I'm showing you, you can clearly see the outline of the rifle as he's walking, and it looks like the stock is down. You could see the barrel going all the way up, and that's how he was able to conceal it. And he could easily maneuver and walk around. It's a pretty logical explanation to me as to how he was able to move around and even jump down. Did he run the risk of, poking himself in the face? Sure, he definitely did. Probably wasn't thinking, and he lucked out. So that seems to make sense to me. That's the most logical explanation I can come up with. But I still can't square this with how supposedly at the press conference he dropped the rifle. That's not making sense to me. So there's still some questions, very reasonable questions that I think need to be addressed and answered. But for now, I do feel comfortable with that being the at least the theory that makes most sense to me, is that he actually had the rifle on him. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that makes sense to me. Now, in terms of other conspiracies, there's a whole buttload of conspiracies out there right now. And listen, guys, I'm fine with conspiracy. I don't have a problem with conspiracy, but I do take issue with the fact that everything becomes a conspiracy. All right. I just feel like everything's a conspiracy. You can't trust anything. You can't, if the moment something comes out, it's like they are automatically assigning blame and, you know, um, coming up with these wild theories. And I'm not saying like we don't speculate or anything like that. We should, but I do think there's a danger in calling everything a conspiracy, because some things just aren't. And I think this is one of those situations where there isn't really a conspiracy happening. You know, it, I just don't think so. Some people are speculating that Israel is involved. I'm just not buying it, man. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that this was a left wing trans radical that got radicalized. He hated Charlie Kirk and he carried that out. He carried out that violence. And they have every reason to, or at least they believe they have every reason to see people like Charlie Kirk be unalived. And they followed through on it. I don't think it's rocket science. I don't think there's a conspiracy here. Even the Bible, by the way, says not to call everything a conspiracy. So Isaiah 8:12 reads, "Do not call everything this people calls a conspiracy. Do not fear what they fear, and do not dread it." And I think there's some truth to that. Like we should not be calling everything a conspiracy. Some things are just they're just straightforward sometimes. And I feel like I'm at a point where I'm getting black pilled on conspiracies because for every one that is true, majority of them are just nonsense. Look, it's okay to speculate, but some of you just run full bore into these theories without thinking of the repercussions. Imagine you're Charlie Kirk's wife and you want justice for your killer, and now you have people sowing all sorts of confusion and doubt when it's actually really straightforward who is responsible. I don't agree with it, and I think 90% of the conspiracies that you're seeing are not because people sincerely care about the truth. And I'm not saying there aren't people that do, all right? But I do think that a lot of the conspiracies are driven strictly for clicks. People want those clicks. It's much more interesting to speculate that it's the Jews or assign blame that it's the Jews than to tell the truth. But uh, that's not good. And the cost of doing this is the truth. You muddy the waters for everybody. You make everything really confusing. And we already have the left trying to do that. We don't need the right doing it. The left immediately were trying to put the entire blame of this situation on the Groypers. I'm not a fan of the Groypers, but do I think Nick Fuentes wanted Charlie Kirk dead? No, I don't. Even Nick Fuentes, by the way, who I largely disagree with on most things, um, said that Israel isn't responsible, and he's pretty staunchly anti-Israel. So if he's saying it, I'm gonna go on a limb and say, hey, it probably isn't Israel. Okay, if one of their biggest critics is saying it's not them, then I'm gonna go with that. All right, but we got to stop doing this, and we have to take the time to actually source some of this information. I'm not saying we'll get things perfect, man, but if you have a theory, it's okay to talk about it. Say, hey, this is a theory I have. You know, what do you guys think? What are the holes? Like think critically of these things. And it doesn't take a lot of critical thought to actually realize that some of these theories are kind of silly. All right. So just think a little bit, use your noggins. I know you guys are capable. I know you're smart. I know my viewers are the smartest out there. So just think a little bit more deeply. And I'm not saying don't ask questions. Listen, the thing with the text messages, there's some good questions to be asked, but I do think sometimes too the answers that we arrive at are just not not as complicated as we'd like to believe. Like, do not there's like a quote, I don't know who quoted it, but there's do not ascribe malice to what you can also ascribe stupidity to. And I think some things aren't conspiracy. It's just people are really dumb and they do dumb things, and I think this shooter, by the way, was pretty stupid in the way that he did everything, that he went about everything. And I think he got a lucky shot on Charlie. I do. Some people think like, wow, he had perfect aim. What if he didn't actually have perfect aim? Did you stop and think about that? What if he was aiming for Charlie's chest and by sheer luck, and I'm not saying that like a good thing, but he happened to hit him in the neck. That seems very possible to me. And everything was sloppy. Him ditching the rifle was sloppy. That doesn't strike me as something well planned. And if the text messages are true, I mean, it just makes him look even worse. So I do think we need to just do a little bit better. I don't want to be that guy that says be better, but just a smidgen. Be a little bit better. Try not to muddy the waters, guys. Seriously. Speculate with your friends. Talk to some people that may see things differently. Try to find some middle ground. I get the desire to want to know the truth. I want to know the truth, but sometimes the truth is the most obvious answer. Sometimes it really is like that. And I do think if we take these text messages at face value, yeah, this was a trans radical. He was a trans radical that wanted to see harm come to other people. Okay. Speaking of other people, I want to start to talk a little bit about right-wing cancel culture. So first, we're going to talk about some leftists that I have said some nice things. So I do want to talk a little bit about them, and then we're going to talk about this idea of cancel culture, because I do want to dispel this idea that I don't think all leftists are like evil people. Like, I don't think that. I think a lot of them are. I'll just be real with you. I think a lot of them are like godless degenerates, but I don't think they're all, horrible radical leftists. But I do think there's more of them than we realize. Okay. But Bill Maher, I think, had this to say that I thought was good. All right, he's talking to Bill Burr, I believe.
Just the fight I am been having with the left, while I'm, of course, the irony, as a lot of people in my position, is still a liberal, just a traditional liberal, won't go along with their, like a lot of the stuff that's just crazy out there too far, which gets Trump elected, blah, blah, blah. As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Took me a second. Sorry, I had to absorb that.
Okay. They're the people who don't want to talk. It's my main issue with them. And Charlie Kirk was a guy who, like, he was always talking. And I talked to him here. The right wingers, say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist thing. The left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. You're deplorable. I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
That attitude, and like all the right wingers, they don't have that attitude. Now, again, I didn't vote for them. And Charlie Kirk and I certainly don't agree on much politically. But he sat here. He's a human being. He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes. And I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person. And they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
Yeah, and I think I mean, one of my biggest frustrations with these leftists that were acting rapidly is that they didn't sound like humans, man. You know, like Bill Maher, you get a sense that he's acting like a human being. You know, he's recognizing the humanity of Charlie and his opponents, and Bill Burr agreed. You know, and this is good. We need more of that. And I do believe him when he says that leftists don't want to have conversations. I actually extended on my my Facebook, excuse me, friends, an invitation. Hey, if you disagree with me, I'll have a conversation. We can record it live. I'll talk to you privately. I don't care. I don't care. I will have a conversation with anybody who's willing to talk. I would prefer to look people in the eyes. That is preferable to me. Preferable. That's preferable to me. I'd prefer to look somebody in the eyes as I'm having a conversation. I think that's very important. I think they need to look into the window of the soul and see that the person staring across from them is another human being. I'm not just some random person on the internet, or because you're over the internet that you think you suddenly have the right to talk to me however you want. That changes when you're face to face with somebody. And I'm convinced too, by the way, that some of these keyboard warriors wouldn't be half as bold as they are online if they were talking to somebody face to face. Because the truth is, many of them are actually cowards. And that's why they don't have these conversations, by the way. So none of my leftist friends took me up on it. Not one. I had two people want to have a conversation with me, but they were conservatives who agreed with me. Go figure. So you have leftists not wanting to have a conversation with you, and the only people that do want to talk to you are conservatives who agree with you. You know, and that it just speaks volumes to conservatism. We want to have dialogue. We want to have conversation. The left doesn't, and Bill Maher just covered this. They don't want to have conversation. They don't want to talk. Now there are some exceptions. We'll play a little while later a panel interview of Destiny and Anna Kasparian and Andrew Wilson and Jack Posobiec having a conversation on Piers Morgan about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And you'll get a picture of what a moderate leftist actually looks like, and it's a little alarming. So here's another post by Elon Musk highlighting some of the issues with the left, man, and the kind of people that they actually are.
And when I read about some of the horrific stories and how the government did nothing and tried to hide it, they try to hide these horrific crimes. And then you see how much violence there's on the left, with our friend Charlie Kirk getting murdered in cold blood this week, and people on the left celebrating it openly. The left is the party of murder and celebrating murder. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. That's who we're dealing with here. That is who we're dealing with.
And I 100% agree with that. I do think they have no problem with assassination culture, because not only were a ton of them celebrating his death, you know, but there were also people recently celebrating charges getting dropped on Luigi Magalone, or whatever his name is, the guy that assassinated the CEO. So we have that right here. I'll pull that up. Leftists yesterday. How dare JD Vance say that most of the lunatics in politics are on the far left? Leftists today dance in the street celebrating news that Luigi's charges were dropped to second-degree murder. Hold on a second. Look at that sign back there, fascist. That's that same word that they ascribe to Charlie
Friend's a
Kirk.
fucking pedophile, so I'm glad this is the result.
You know, that's amazing. But that just shows them we're all together, right? 'Cause they were like, they can't let that shit slide.
Yep.
Guys, this is on everybody, right? Because we didn't let that shit slide. So you know we didn't let that slide. That's right. That's right. Free! Luigi! 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 Free! Luigi!
So these are the people that are celebrating the man who assassinated a health insurance CEO. This is them brazenly celebrating assassination. So is it really that shocking that they would do it with Charlie Kirk? No, because this is who they are. Look at all of them. Look, this guy murdered somebody in cold blood, guys. And they're celebrating it. It's wild. It is wild to me. But thankfully, not everybody on the left is as unhinged as those people are. There are some people that are extremely reasonable. So these are some words from Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, this is an example, guys, by the way, if you're a leftist and you celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder, this is an example of how to appropriately respond to that situation in case you needed a lesson.
I was very, very upset that someone's life was taken because they have a different opinion. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, this was a great communicator, a great advocate for the right, for Republican causes. And he had such a great way of communicating with the students that agreed or disagreed with him. And I just thought, it's a human being. A human life is gone.
Yeah.
And he was a great father, a great husband. And I was thinking about his children. They will only be reading about him now, instead of him reading to them bedtime stories. I mean, it's just unbelievable of what is going on. So I was shocked when I saw this, as we all were.
That is how you respond like a human being. That is what it looks like to actually have a soul. Now, do I think Arnold and I agree politically on anything? Probably not. But you can still have your humanity in recognizing the value of human life and being bothered that it was snuffed out because of a political disagreement. And there's a couple more that I do want to cover. So this is from Moist Critical. Now, I do apologize for the language. This is just him, man. He curses all the time, but he acted like a human being.
I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk, everything that happened here is fucking horrible. I think it is horrific, awful. I think it is terrible. And I'm aware that some people have been celebrating this. I find that to be fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. Yes. These are leftists that still have their souls. And listen, you don't have to like Kirk, okay? You don't have to like Kirk. You don't even have to say anything about it. You could be quiet. What you shouldn't do is celebrate his death. That is abhorrent. It is. It's just disgusting. Okay. We're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to cover some of the leftists. Now, leftists have been really upset because we've noticed their language. we've noticed that they are acting like ghoulish demons. We noticed them celebrating. For me, it was hard not to notice. Do you want to know why? Because the first day I went live on TikTok to cover this, as it was happening, before we even knew he was dead, they were celebrating. They were in here mocking me and mocking Charlie. I saw it with my own two eyes. And then after he's dead, they were gleeful about it. And it was just bizarre. So because of that, though, we started paying attention. And a database, Charlie Kirk's Data Foundation, a searchable database of over 20,000 individuals celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, will soon be available on our website. I do believe that is available, actually. Now, we can go to the website and we can take a peek. Yeah, it is available. No, it's not. It's offline. So maybe they're getting in trouble for this because people are saying they're doxing, but they were posting publicly available information of leftists who celebrated this. Here's another girl that was making it her personal mission to get people fired. I've officially contacted 706 employers and delegated hundreds of other submissions to people who offered to help. I will not stand for the vile and hateful comments made about Charlie and Erica Kirk.
It's no shock that the left is mad that we are playing by their game. They created cancel culture and we are now playing by their rules and they can't stand it. In reality, it's just consequence culture. They're finally learning consequences to their actions. We're holding them accountable because complacency is what led us to the last week. What we saw to that poor girl on the bus, what we saw happen to Charlie Kirk, and so many other unfortunate situations. So they are seeing the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely. Hannah, you've got the War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, the order.
It's no shock.
Yep. This is you know, you live by the sword and you die by the sword. I don't like it, but it is what it is. You created this beast. You created this monster, by the way. And just so in case any of you have caught amnesia, okay? The leftists were trying to get people canceled for saying things that were actually true. All right. They got Gina Carano fired from The Mandalorian. I don't know if you remember that, but it was devastating for her because she put beep bop boop in her bio. That's why she got fired. And she made comments about the lockdowns being similar to Nazi Germany. That is what led her to getting fired. And the leftists were fine with it. They had no problems. I did not hear a single leftist saying or crying about cancel culture then, but now when they were getting canceled for doing this. So this is Pop Base saying Charlie Kirk has died at the age of 31 after being shot. Donald Trump announces, "We effing did it." Well, now the tune's changing a little bit. So they're upset that they're getting fired for posting abhorrent, disgusting stuff like that, but they've been acting freaking wild. So we're gonna play a couple of videos. So here's a video that was making the rounds on TikTok.
Pro-gun advocate Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck at his own debate rally. I try to avoid American politics if possible, but I've opened X to a bunch of little bitches crying and whinging about how political violence is never the answer. These people are gunning for politics that is inherently violent to its people. These people are gunning for politics that are inherently violent to a population. To marginalised people, to people who need access to healthcare. This is the same across the West. This isn't just the US. This is England too. I'm sick of this idea that you can't meet violence with violence. If somebody was smacking you in the face in the corner of a room over and over, you're going to hit them back. You have to. You're not getting out of that unless you do. These people do not care if you live or die. They don't. As long as you can work for them and make them money, and once you're useless, they don't care. They want you to die. Why is anyone condemning that? Fucking kill them all. Kill them all.
So, yeah. I mean, they wonder why they get fired for saying stuff like that. Well, I wonder why. So, do you see the difference between like Gina Carano getting canceled for saying beep bop boop, and then this person getting canceled or fired for saying kill them all? I don't know. It seems like a pretty significant difference. Also, just strictly from an employer standpoint, okay, that is damaging to your organization. Okay, if I'm an employer and I find out Gina Carano said beep bop boop, I'd probably laugh. I'd be like, that's silly. Someone's reporting that. If I found out somebody's like, oh, your employee is celebrating that national news figure that got shot in the neck and jubilantly expressing his joy about it, I'd be like, what? This guy works for me? Not anymore. Not anymore. Who would want someone like that working for them? Like that brings into question your entire character. But wait, there's more. So this is Serena Luciano. She is here on a student visa from Argentina. She currently works as a college recruiter for the University of Illinois College of Architecture, Design, and Arts in UICSOA, where she is also pursuing her master's in urban higher education. Her words, Charlie Kirk can rest in effing piss. It's hot as F where that man currently is, and it's deserved. So, lovely people. There's more, though. Here's another one, literally mocking, making fun of Charlie as he, over what happened to Charlie. Honestly, the people laughing too, like they're just as bad in my opinion, because that's not funny. And he spit.
Fuck that nigga. You're gonna get expelled, dude.
And he did get expelled, by the way. He's gone. Gone. Greg Abbott called for him to get expelled. So it actually did happen. So that guy got expelled. And then you want to ask why we're not, then you want to cry about being canceled. Let's look at the behavior, okay? You canceled people for saying beep bop boop. You canceled people for doing the okay sign. You canceled people for misgendering somebody. You canceled people for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable. The right wing is canceling people for acting like demons. I think there's a clear difference. Okay, let's play this other video.
So I keep on seeing like post about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever, regardless. And let me just say this, I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end dog. Get rid of them all. And the ones that are above him. Your mayor. Your city councilman. What is it? Georgia Power, the people that keep on raising our shit, the CEO, get rid of them. Yeah. Like, what? It was so crazy. I watched like a 60 minute, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. 1 minute edit of like the things he said, and they're like so atrocious that like His wife deserves to go too. Y'all keep on talking about his wife and kids. They need to go too because they're carrying on that mentality and that lineage. Like, get rid of the whole family. I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him? Why did you stop with him? Go get his grandma. Because who raised you? Like, your mom ought to be ashamed for breathing scum like you. Get rid of the whole family. Like, y'all too scary. Y'all too scary for revolution. Y'all too scary for progress. Like, y'all want results without putting in the work. You gonna have to take out trash to get a clean house. Like, it is what it is. If the trash can is stinking up the house, you gotta take out the garbage. Take the garbage out, y'all. Take the garbage out. All right. Not me. I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Well, Anna Paulina Luna reported her to the FBI. She's calling for the assassination of elected officials in addition to the entire Kirk family. Yeah, she is. Pure ignorance and evil. Didn't even know his name, but yet she hates him that bad. Yeah, and she saw it too, a 1 minute edit, which basically, if you're seeing a 1 minute edit of a video and it's representing your political opponent in the most disingenuous way possible, chances are it's probably missing some crucial context. Almost every single example that I've seen of Charlie Kirk's alleged racism is taken out of context. Actually, every single one that I've seen is taken out of context, and that context is crucial to understanding the points that he's making. So these people that are calling for the assassination of elected officials, of CEOs, of the entire Kirk family, are doing this based solely on what they are hearing about him and the manipulated edits that are making the rounds on TikTok. And that's evil. And then they call it progress. That's progress. Murdering conservatives is progress to them. That is insane to me. That is insane. And then they wonder why conservatives don't want to unite with them. You want to murder us. And don't tell me it's fringe. Okay, there's countless videos like this, countless messages like this, all doing the exact same thing. This is not isolated. That's why they were able to collect a database of like 60,000 people, because there's so many of them. It's crazy to me, man. It's unspeakably evil. And yeah, Bartovello, it is despicable. And you know what I would want at the very least, all right? Like, just have the courage to call your own people out, man. Listen, if right-wingers were doing this, I would condemn it. If I found out right-wingers are celebrating the death of, let's say, Hassan Piker, I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is not who we are. We're not about that. We're not about political assassinations. But yet they celebrate it, man. And this is why it's like these people are just evil. Here's another one.
So the day after Charlie Kirk died, I was in class. My teacher said, I'll give you 5 minutes for hot takes about Charlie Kirk. I was the only person who raised their hand. I said, I've been saying we need to bring back political assassinations. I don't feel bad, and I don't think that everyone deserves the right to free speech. I think some people should be afraid to express their opinion in public. So this class is literally about revolution in China. All of our readings for this month have been talking about how violent revolution liberated millions of people, it liberated women, and then our reading for that day was specifically about democratic dictatorship, where Mao writes about, yes, people deserve free speech, but there should not be free speech for reactionaries and imperialists and like capitalists and all these people who were enemies of the revolution, because that would reverse the progress that was made. So the day after Charlie Kirk died, I was...
Jesus, man. Yeah, we need to bring back political assassinations. Some people should be afraid to express their opinion, which she says the professor agreed with and defended her. Holy Jesus, man. Now, supposedly, I think this individual got fired. Actually, let me see if I can find that follow-up story because I'm pretty not fired, expelled. Let me see if I can find it. But it is sick, man. It is absolutely astonishing to me how many of these people there are. And this is a short list. I don't even have all the videos because there were so many of them. Being a war veteran, this makes me sick that I fought for this country for people like that. Yeah, and this is why I would like revoke their visas if remotely saying anything negative about the United States and they are not a legal citizen. Goodbye. You're out. Goodbye. Goodbye. You do not come into our country, disrespect our laws, and then call for violent assassinations. Like you don't get to do that and stay. So ship her off, get rid of her, send her back to her own country, and let's see how she likes living in a place where she can't say that. Yeah, and they don't have any rights here, and they shouldn't have any rights here. We got a couple more. So here is a video with Destiny, a panel interview with Andrew Wilson and Jack Posobiec. So with all these calls for unities, I tried sitting down and talking about the state of things with the left. This is how it went.
I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. I think that
So if we vote and exercise our constitutional right and vote for a Republican candidate, you will kill our people, is what he's saying. That is what he's saying. That's insane. It is insanity. And it's just there's so many of these guys. Yeah, he was trolling a little bit. He shared that he got banned from TikTok, making it seem like this is what got him banned, but he's been banned from TikTok for a long time. He actually streams on Kick, which is where the pressure should ultimately be applied. But Kick is also kind of notorious for allowing this type of disgusting, abhorrent content on their site. So I don't think he's going to suffer at all for anything that he says. He's already a pariah, but hopefully I'm actually in favor of people platforming people like Destiny just so that we can, like, it'll give you a window into how these people think. And you can act on that. Now, this isn't explicit calling for political violence in the next one I'm going to show you, but let's take a look and see how this guy is talking about this killer. This is an ABC reporter.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate who is transitioning calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was tough.
Riveting, huh? This guy was just commenting on the person that murdered Charlie Kirk, and he described his relationship with this uh, transgender individual as touching. Very touching. God, these people are out of their minds, man. They're out of their minds. They are just totally disconnected from reality itself. So I do think ultimately uh, these people that do this type of thing deserve to be canceled. You know, you could say that's hypocritical. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You guys created these rules. Leftists created these rules. You tried to cancel us for saying things that were true, that were correct, that were right. You tried to cancel us for not using pronouns and saying beep bop boop and rightly identifying government overreach during COVID. That's what you wanted to cancel us for. You wanted to cancel a kid for smiling as a Indian man got in his face. So don't you dare talk to us about how you're horrified and you want what about free speech when you are calling for the murder of other individuals and celebrating the murder of other individuals. You deserve to lose your job. You do. Now, I'm not going to go around personally reporting people, all right? I'm a firm believer that vengeance is the Lord, and I will leave that up to God to dispense justice however he sees fit. But when I do see these people get fired from their jobs, I'd be lying if I didn't say I, you know, thought to myself, well, good. You get what you deserve. And it seems to me like in that situation, justice is served. Okay. Now, along the lines of cancel culture, right? So there's this idea of hate speech, okay? Now, I don't believe in hate speech. I don't believe it's a real thing. I believe we have laws against speech that will incite violence. I think that's good. I don't think we need hate speech laws. I think people are actually allowed to hate other people. That they are. We can't regulate hatred. Okay. And speech you don't like isn't automatically hate speech. So it can be very loosely applied to anything. So I would prefer that we just have zero hate speech laws. And I would actually prefer people be, if they're like, let's say they're racist, I prefer them to be openly racist. I would prefer that, actually, because I would rather know who's racist and then I can choose whether or not I want to associate with them. But in light of everything that's happened, we have Pam Bondi now basically saying that the US government is going to target people using quote unquote hate speech. So let's play this clip real quick.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle. There's free speech.
What is hate speech? How do we define hate speech? See, I do not like this, and nobody's asking for this, left or right. We aren't. We want you to go after like the trans radicals. We want you to go after the people that are plotting violent extremism. We want you to go after them. We want you to focus on them. We don't want you to focus on this broad category of hate speech, because basically hate speech can be whatever speech a person doesn't like. That could qualify as hate speech. And I think that is abject nonsense. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that with Pam Bondi. I'll be real with you guys. Not a fan. Okay, now we're gonna move into some positive news, honestly, because we've had a lot of negative news. So some positive news. So I want to start off with this clip by Charlie Kirk because I do think it is appropriate.
My favorite verses, though, is Romans 8:28, which says that God works all things for good for those who love him. It's a very freeing and liberating verse for those of us that are Christians, because we believe that when things can be really bad, God is working it for his good, his perfect and pleasing will, which is a very, very hard teaching when you come across business closures or staff layoffs. But it's very liberating that God is working all things towards an ultimate good. So I love that, and it kind of is very freeing that I don't have to be in charge of everything. And there is a God, I'm not him, and I surrender to his will. I appreciate that.
Amen. Amen. And I think what has happened as a result of Charlie Kirk's death is a prime example of God working all things together for the good of those who love him. Because since Charlie's death, the world has come ablaze, man. I mean, people are showing up in ways I never thought possible. There are people that are coming to the gospel of Jesus Christ. There are turning point chapters being started all across the country. This has blown up and escalated into a global movement. So this is from Tyler Bauer, who works for Turning Point. TP USA and TP Action received 27,000 college leads for chapters, 26,000 plus for high school leads, 15,000 tickets sold for America Fest in Phoenix, 520,000 items purchased in merch, over 31,000 requests to get involved with TPA coalitions and ballot chasing. Thank you. Amazing. Amazing that people are coming out with this level of support. And not just them, but like you have even actors and baseball stadiums and NASCAR stadiums all playing tribute to Charlie Kirk. This is a video by Chris Pratt just praying for his followers because he felt like this is the right time to do it, and I just thought I'd share this with you guys.
Hey guys, just stop real quick and pray with me. Lord, you say, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. In this moment, please, Lord, calm my restless mind. Quiet my anxious heart. Help me set aside distractions and choose what gives life and gives peace. Isaiah 26:3, you keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you. Lord, fill me with strength to turn my attention toward you, that I find rest and joy in your presence. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, now you can continue strolling, or you can turn your phone off and go outside. Might I suggest the latter? Go get some sunshine, go look at a tree, touch some grass, call a friend. If you've got time to be on your phone right now, you've got time to do your to-do list, and you've got time to reach out to somebody in need and share this prayer with them. Amen.
Yeah, except right now, because you're watching my video. All right, then you can go. Then you can go outside. Although it's kind of dark out, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, you have him. Obviously, that is in response to what has happened. So you have, some Hollywood celebrities showing solidarity with Kirk. You also have freaking Coldplay. So this is from a Coldplay concert.
And so, with that in mind, for the final time, for a few years in London, let's raise our hands like this and send love anywhere you want to send it in the world. And there are so many places that might need it today. So here it comes from London. You can send this to your brother or your sister. You can send it to the families of people who've been going through terrible stuff. You can send it to Charlie Kirk's family. You can send it to anybody's family. You can send it to people you disagree with, but you send them love anyway. And so,
nice sentiment, you know. I don't know really what sending love actually is, you know, but if that's his way of encouraging people to pray, okay. But it is a nice sentiment toward the Kirk family, you know, that he took the time to acknowledge them. He's not the only one. So here we have NASCAR doing a flyover for Charlie Kirk. There's so many more, man, guys. They're calling it the Charlie effect. So here's, I guess, football team carrying American flags in honor of Charlie. Yeah, it's just really encouraging to see. There's also been nationwide. Hold on a second. Nationwide uh parades and protests celebrating Charlie Kirk. So this is in the UK. Look at all those people, man. And this, I guess, was facilitated by Tommy Robinson. All these people showed up for Kirk. This is a global movement, man. It's wild how many people have come out to support this guy. And I'm really encouraged by it. We have people marching in Australia. We also have this woman praying from Spain. Oh, this is Ada Loach.
Erica Kirk, this is for you. We love you. We stand with you. We will always have your back, and we love your husband, Charlie.
So it's just, yeah, it's so many people everywhere, man. Freaking, here we have, I don't know what country this is, but a different country, I'm assuming.
God bless you. God bless you.
So I don't know, man. I'm really encouraged. And then to top it all off, you have people that have come to faith because of this what has happened with Charlie Kirk. So here you have this tweet. My friend isn't religious and wasn't a Charlie Kirk follower. Nothing that you can tell me at this point will make me doubt God is real. Kirk messed me up. I dreamed about him last night, which is weird. Really? I'm telling you, dude, I barely listened to him and it felt like someone I was friends with was murdered. Same. I'm reading it's happening to a bunch of people. What'd you dream? We were hanging out and talking about what? Jesus. It's crazy, man. I mean, God is moving. He is moving and he's trying to reach his people. And, you know, these are one of those world-changing events that I believe revival is birthed out of. And God brings many, many people home to him. And And there's one more video I want to play, and then I think we'll call it a night. But this woman shares her experience.
I've never ever opened the Bible before. In fact, I know nothing about Christianity or Jesus. But yesterday, after witnessing the assassination of Charlie Kirk on the internet, and it just being so normal to people, like watching this man get shot in the neck, and everybody being so desensitized and just going on with life like it was normal. Something was calling me to my husband's Bible. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law, my husband, you know, they have been trying to bring me to Christianity, you know, since I met them. They're not like overbearing, they don't force it on me, but like, you know, they talk about it. And they respect that, like, I don't know how I feel. But for the very first time yesterday, I grabbed the Bible. I don't know what I'm looking for in the Bible. I don't know why I felt like I needed to grab the Bible. But I grabbed my husband's Bible. And the page that I opened up to was the verse, John 8:32. And it said, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free."
Wow.
And I feel like that changed me so much.
Okay, I got
because
chills.
Up until yesterday, I leaned both ways politically. I am pro-life, but I also believe women should have autonomy over their bodies. I don't care if someone is gay, but I don't want sexuality pushed on my children in school. I believe in the Second Amendment, but like it also makes me sad that bad guys have guns too. I've never voted before, but after yesterday, I know where I stand. I will never cast a blue vote. I am convinced that the Democratic Party is ran by the devil himself. And I know I'll get hate for saying this, and I don't care. But I feel like Charlie Kirk's death, woke me up spiritually, and now I can't unsee the truth.
Wow, man. That was powerful. That was profound. You know, and that's what it's like, because, you know, the truth does set you free. And you know, that's what it did for her. You know, it set her free. And I just think, like, yeah, of course God is going to work all things together for the good of those who love him. And that's what he's doing in this situation, in the midst of this tragedy. He's working it together for good. And he's working together to reach his people and advance his gospel. And that is a beautiful thing. You know, I said on a previous video that the blood of martyrs is what exponentially expands the reach of the gospel. And we're seeing that with this situation. And just pray that God continues to have his way, and that he opens up more people's hearts and more people's eyes to the truth, and that the truth of his word will set them free. All right, I think that's a wrap. I mean, it looks like most of my people are probably watching from Twitter, is what I'm assuming. But I appreciate all of you guys. For those of you watching on Twitter, for those of you watching on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, all the places, thank you for your support. I appreciate you guys. And I pray that you guys have a very blessed night. I'm going to call it a night. God bless. Deuces.